So here we go, boys. We have some bug fixes and some changes to the game that I think are worth to talk about. They're very small, of course. We don't have a lot to talk about, of course. July is one of the most standing still, if you will, months of the year, right? But there are still some little things that we need to talk about. So the first thing is that we had kind of a bug fix and change on some stuff today. So we're going to talk about it. We start off with the Mitsubishi F2, the Premium F2, and the SU-34. Now they actually fixed it. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but I was having some troubles actually being able to get a lock. I don't know if it was yesterday or when it was, but in the F2 specific, I was getting some troubles when you were in a TWS and you were trying to get a lock onto a target like that, but there was a very like a big amount of targets around it and stuff. It was very hard to actually choose the target that you wanted, right? So now they fix it for these three aircraft. Like I said, the Mitsubishi F2s and the Su-34. Basically, the filtering restrictions for speed and range when switching from the TWS to tracking, right? Which means that basically when you are like choosing a target to actually lock and actually clicking the button to lock, for these three aircraft, it will be more precise and a little bit better for you to actually have a proper lock and launch your missile, okay? So it might not feel like a big thing, but it was really annoying, especially with the F2, to have this problem, okay? Another thing is that, as you see down there on the bottom of the screen right now, we have the weapon selector. So they actually change it up a little bit. Now you can basically pin the selector, or not if you want to. So you will have this normal screen. You need, of course, a button to click. So I normally don't use these, but I know some people do. So for example, you need a button for this, show mouse cursor, and then you're gonna click that or hold that button, right? And you're gonna click on the weapon selector, of course, and now you can pin it. So if you pin it, it will just stay there, right? And of course you can, I'm clicking Alt over here because it's the same button for the mouse cursor, but you can change the countermeasures, the missiles, everything that the weapon selector do, right? But you can do it with the pin here. And I'm using a specific button, which makes me not be able to do this, but if you have another button that it's not mine selection of buttons, you can actually fly the aircraft while it is there, right? So I cannot because I use the Alt plus the buttons to turn, as you see on the horizontal and vertical guidance of the weapons, like the bullpups and stuff. But that's just for me, right? If you actually use any like other button, you will be able to actually control the aircraft while you are using this. I don't use it. I just use the normal weapon selection button. So yeah, but it is something that it's, I think, very cool, right? There's another thing that I think is one of the coolest things that they actually added today, guys. It is a pretty interesting thing. It's a small thing, but it really does help. So we are here on a radar's, screen, the normal like radar control screen of the AAs, right? The new AAs and stuff. You can see that we have plenty of targets. We are in the test flight, so no friendly targets over here, obviously. But now they actually added a filter method over here that you can choose to see only the allies, as you see, or only the enemies. Which means that there will be way less clutter on your screen when you're using the AA. Especially because, of course, you can choose to see the allies, but to be honest, there's not really a point because, you're not going to fire onto them anyway. So it's just better to just use the enemy. Maybe you can use this sometimes to really know if there is a target that it's not being detected by your radar or if it's an allied vehicle, right, flying around. But in a general sense, normally just use the enemy and it will be much less clutter for you to actually be able to fire your missiles, right? So it is way better, and I think it's just an incredible change that they actually did. It's a small thing, I know, but it really does help a lot, I think. It really is a good change. Also, there was a bug with the PTGI, the Path Traced Global Illumination, that basically made you lose performance, so they fixed that. There were multiple bugs that they fixed. Engine sounds for the T-54. There was a bug on site stabilization for aircraft. So there were many bugs that were fixed. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is that in the maps Operation Afghanistan, Kamchatka, Smolensk, Golan Heights, and Denmark, we actually now have an airpoint to spawn in, not just the attackers or whatever, but now you actually have an airpoint. As you see over here, we are here in a custom. You just click the airpoint. It will be normally in the auto mode. Of course, if it has bad weather, you can choose. And then when you spawn in, you will spawn in flying, which is a great help because these maps, from time to time, they can be a little bit problematic to take off. I mean, some of them, no. I mean, Golan Heights, we technically already had one, I think, right? I mean, probably it's a version of Golan Heights. But the Kamchatka, I mean, I don't care too much about that. Denmark, Smolensk, they're not, yeah, it doesn't change much for me. But for Afghanistan, I think it really does help because we are very high up here in altitude to take off. So sometimes there are some aircraft with heavy payloads that would have a little bit of a problem, right? One thing that I need to mention is that these, things will happen below the 10.7 BR, right? Because, like I said, some of these were already happening in the higher tiers. But now they are gonna happen in the below 10.7 BR. So as you can see, I mean 10.3, and we're gonna be here, right, in these lower ranks, flying, with an airpoint, which is pretty good, right? So yeah, pretty good, right? So these are the changes that we had today. I know nothing too crazy, but I do believe they are very needed. All the little, like the 3 things that they changed, I think mainly is a pretty good change. So, yeah, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Thank you all the patrons and members. I will probably update the way that those work very soon, okay? Once I have the time. But, yeah, I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye. See ya.